Well, after a short video episode on Glassdoor, I got some few emails about their tenure working in a specific company, and some have discussed about some issues with their manager or stuff like that. And of course, some admitted that they too have read the reviews before joining into the company and stuff. And sometimes I have seen there is this misconception. People think that it is actually the HR who recruits you. The thing is, it is not like that. In case if you still believe that HR is what recruits you, it is your it's something that you are not getting the point. See, the HR is a mediator. The word itself says the human resources. They are just going to be a mediator, so that when it comes to managing human resources, they just act as a mediator between high level management and mid level management, and then the other guys below that. Okay, so when it comes to hiring any manager, when it comes to even hiring a VP, all these things happen through the HR, but at the end, it is actually whatever the top management decides, the high level management decides. HR does whatever they request them to. See, for example, there's a team, the manager need a couple of testing guys, a couple of developers. He will tell I need so and so skills, and he may even write the job description, so that he writes based on the project whatever he want these guys to put. So if they are supposed to work in some UI stuff, we may say that they should have so and so JavaScripting skills, Angular JS, Node.js and stuff like that. Or if it is some system software, then he may tell about Linux programming, system software and all those things. Let it be kernel and other stuff. So he will put all this list and he will prepare a JD, and he's going to hand over to the HR. The HR is what takes this JD, and then they publish in the company's careers page, as well as they may publish in third-party sites, let it be Monster and other websites. So it is what HR does. And they also mention so and so is the pay scale and stuff. Again, this pay scale is not something HR decides. Again, if you think that it is what HR does, you are confused. I'm saying you, HR is a mediator between top management and getting this. So the manager might say this is the project budget and stuff. Again, he is going to consult his top management, and whatever he says to the HR, based on that they will put some salary bracket. Because if they get a guy who is well placed, but he has right skills to match this job requirement, they need to hire that talent. And if the guy is not so skilled, but they need to fill this role somehow, then they can negotiate. So they may put some kind of range between this to this, and not more than that. And sometimes it is better not less than that. So something like that. So it's what HR does. It's a mediator. So this they do. Let's assume they are hiring a programmer or some tester. The HR will work in tandem with the manager or the team leads and stuff. Sometimes the team leads themselves can mediate with the HR with manager approval, and manager will take his supervisor approval. So this is how any corporate thing works. Unless until it is some very small startup. If it is a very small startup, most of the times the founder or the CEO or somebody have to approve. And these things will not get unnoticed, and he will end of the time micromanage. And when I had a firm, even I need to micromanage these things, because hardly there are few people, and you don't need to have any extensive hierarchy. Even in my company, I never had any HR, because those things even I used to take care, because it's a relatively small company and I don't need to waste my salary this thing in terms of this thing. So as long as you keep your expenses in check, it's well and good. Otherwise what happens is you hire excess talent pool, and when they don't need anymore, you need to do some downsizing and you need to fire. So I don't like much hire and fire. So this is what, so I'm kind of cautious not to get extensive talent pool, so that tomorrow in case if something happens, I need to expel whatever is excess. Okay, so this is what. But in a large company things are more different. They do have a lot of buffer, liquid reserves, let it be cash, whatever. So they will have so much in bulk. So what happens is things do work in a different way. So they need to hire before in hand. They cannot do on demand hiring all the time. Sometimes you just need for somebody in that project, you just cannot hire and fill that gap. It may take a long time. So this again, HR tackles. Again I'm saying, see here they are working with the manager, and when it comes the hiring of the manager itself, the top management tells to the HR to fetch a guy and get that guy on board. The HR is what takes care of arranging the interviews and all those things. Again, you see there is no much difference between a HR and an admin or some kind of company's personal secretary. Okay, so this is what, so HR does kind of a role. And often you see, if you are working in a small startup, the HR role is not purely defined. She will be doing HR role, as well as she will be working as an office admin as well. So she may even coordinate with other folks in terms of getting infrastructure, let it be water or any other needs. Okay, let it be something like that. They take care of all these things. So they act, they don't have any strict responsibilities when it comes to startup, because they just will find someone who can do most of the things. So HR does more elaborate things when it comes to a startup. But when it comes to a large company, if the company is so huge, then you may have a small hierarchy of HR team altogether. So you may have a HR head, and he takes care of getting statistics, what is that attrition rate, how much they are recruited this month, how much they are recruiting this year, and what is the salaries going so far as an expenditure, because the top management asks again the HR to evaluate and do this workout. I just tell you, this is same as how you manage a house. See, you manage a house, like I discussed in that last tour video. See, you manage a house and you keep a track of all your bills. End of the year you file for tax returns or something, and you will also see that what is that your expenditure is going on. So this is why top management will need HR's help to see what is that overall things getting spent as a part of human resources in that company, currently employed and stuff. And if it is somewhere they are unable to meet the budgets and stuff like that, and there is any excess staff, then again they will send a note to the HR to inquire a specific team managers, the corresponding team managers, mentioning that if any excess guys are in the team, they want to consider, they can consider and they can expel them, so that they can fire them. Okay, so this is what, again I am saying, it is not HR firing them, it is just HR is just a mediator. Okay, the thing is, here is the confusion starts. In many companies, HR act as if they have entire control and stuff, and sometimes HR do some type of spy work and other stuff, so behind the scenes. Okay, so this is where you need to be quite careful. They are a little bit they just the role itself, as I said, the role itself is like a mediator between the top management and that entire company. So sometimes these HR works directly under the top management, and they do all this other stuff again commanded by the top management. So you need to be kind of careful, and they may even misrepresent you in some way to the top management, and top management have no time to check whether a developer is doing good or not, a tester is doing good or not, or something like that. Okay, so this gives a lot of leverage to the HR. They can use it for their own good, they can use it in a bad way, and then they can spoil somebody's career and life as well. So these things do happen. See, I just want to show you something. Okay, See, for instance, these are my old bills. Just a couple of days I was archiving all these things. As you can see, I mentioned a note as archive, and this is the file number 1. So this contains my 5 years old, hospital bills. See this, how thick it is, and I tied them with the string. So this contains all these hospital bills, electricity bills, and stuff like that. That includes even phone, internet, and stuff like that. Okay, it even includes some gas bills and stuff. So all I have combined and put together. These are quite old. So what happens is, I have a track of these things in the system, so I know what is the expenditure curve and all that. So based on that, I know that what is the thing which I am getting versus where it is going out and stuff like that. So this will help me to track any expenditures, and if there is anything going out of control, I'm unnecessarily buying or something like that, or else any resource I'm spending excess, I know from this and I can take a corrective measure. Same way HR's work is, annually they mention to the top management, they give always quarterly report how much has been spent in terms of salary and how much is the current employed employees, what is the attrition rate, how much it was the total manpower beginning of this year and current, and or else once the year is over, financial year is over, again they may give some kind of a report. So this is what also HR does. Okay, again, this is not something HR is doing out of blue. It is what they are instructed to do by top management. And in my company, as I said, when I had a company, I don't have to get it done from somebody because it's a very small company. I don't need any HR either, actually, because if I keep an HR, I need to spend salaries for them. And it's an expenditure, it's an extra expenditure when the company is quite small. If the company is large, if I start getting around, more than 15-20 employees, then it becomes tricky, and then definitely you need some admin come HR for that sized company. If the company grows more than 30 to 40 employees, then you need 2 persons. You need one dedicated admin, like a front desk admin who also takes care of multiple things. Suppose some AC is not working, she may call those maintenance guys and stuff like that. Some issue with the electricity, UPS, battery maintenance or something like that. Okay, annual maintenance. So they do all this work. Okay, so you need an infrastructure or admin person. Then you need a dedicated HR person to take care of organizing interviews and other stuff. So it is needed once the company is around 40 to 50, 60 onwards. If the company is more than 150 employees to 200 employees, just use your common sense. Sometimes one HR is not sufficient. And also once it crosses more than 40-50 employees, it is also makes sense to have in-house accountant, account team as well. So it is what it is. Again, if it is a very small company, you don't need to do, you just have to maintain some segregated files like this. See, this kind of discipline I got because I had a company. I know what is that I need end of the year to return, file my tax returns and stuff. So I keep all these things in check. Okay, so I keep them in segregated files. Since these are really old, I just put all together. I felt let me put somewhere on the top, not in the main cabinet or closet, and this thing. So this is the thing which HR does as well. So if you think they are meant to hire people, or it is what HR is hiring you or something, it's a misconception. HR does so many things, you are really confused. And I say always, as you work as a, most of the times as you work as a technical expert or something, sometimes you never have any clue the way how the entire company works and what is the business aspect. Okay, so the company have to earn from somewhere, and then they need to disperse, they need to pay the salaries for the human resources and other resources, let it be office chair, computer desk, whatever it is, all these extra expenses. And other than that, whatever it comes, it will be shared across the investors. Okay, if it is a large company, it will be shared across the stock investors and as well as board of directors, whoever have a specific stake in that company and stuff. So even the size of the HR itself determines the size of the company. If the company has around 1000 employees, maybe you may have a small team. If it is a company like Infosys, TCS, Wipro and all that, you need extensive HR team. The HR team itself may have hundreds and hundreds of employees to manage a scale of an operation like that. And sometimes if the company have multiple branches, it is spread across in multiple states and countries, whatever. So what happens is you may have some operations head. You need definitely one operations head per site. If they have a branch in Bangalore, you need one guy to take care of or oversee and supervise all this stuff. So you need some operations head. Whereas when it comes to banks and other establishment, they usually call it as a branch manager may do that. Okay, so something like a branch manager or somebody will take care of that. But in the modern era, in the IT world, usually you may have somebody as an operations head. You may have regional operation head, and then you may have a country head, and then you may have one more guy who takes care of the entire company throughout the world. Okay, so something like that. So if you see this way, HR is tightly interconnected. Sometimes they need to even hire them as well. Sometimes even a vice president or a CTO itself, HR have to facilitate to get him hired if there is a need. Okay, so HR takes care of all these things, but again I'm saying sometimes they do tend to act as if they own this company and all. It is strictly not. Sometimes they get extensive power, because sometimes they do give some amount of feedback about you in some possible sources. Okay, so there you need to be quite careful about, and they may even tell something about you in a false way and stuff. So be very careful about that. But I'm saying the more you think about company politics and stuff, anybody can cause an issue. Let it be your own supervisors, your own team managers or team leads or anybody, just not HR alone. So I'm saying all these things are going to be there. But other than that, HR has this strict, allocated work, which is to facilitate the operations. And in that case, the most of the times they deal with human resources. But on the other hand, if the company is small, they also takes care of admin and other stuff. If the company is really small, she may have 3 roles. One is to be a secretary for the CEO or the main founder, and second thing, she may be also an admin, and third thing is also she may be working as a HR. Even I thought if the company has more than 10 employees, maybe I thought let me keep one secretary or admin or something, because it will little bit reduce my load. She can take care of some of this stuff, because you need to file this bills and other stuff for tax filing and stuff, because they do all this stuff. They can do all this stuff. If it is a small company, and end of the year or sometime quarterly or something, you can pass it to your accountants. If it is a small company, you don't need an accounting team and all that actively working in the company. You can give to some third party accounting consulting firms. So you give these firms, you give these files and all the details, they do that accounting and stuff. Otherwise, what you can do is, if the company is quite large, then you should start thinking getting in-house accounting team. And there are exceptions again. See, in one of the companies I worked, there is a operations head, but he is a core accountant, but he is also quite talented. So he worked as a part HR, as a part accountant also, and as a part admin, and he's a fantastic guy. See, he's really good in that job, and we used to like him a lot. He's really good, and we used to feel very comfortable. See, it is long back in one of the companies. I don't want to name the company, but one of the startups I worked when they initially started their operations in India. So we used to have a good guy actually. So he used to have multiple roles, and now I think he takes care of entire operations or something. He's head of operations or something. So it depends. If the person is skillful, they can do a lot more things. It's just not that HR alone. They have their own scope of career development and stuff. I hope this video is useful. In case if you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail or post your queries in YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.